sure that you're aware of that meeting. I included information on the, as we discussed earlier this evening, the Meet the Candidates thing at the Little Falls Senior Center on September 20th, providing any information that you might have received with regard to that. I've talked to one or two of you, and from what I understand, there was nothing that was sent out, or you had a phone call, or?
Phone call.
I had a phone call.
Yeah.
We all did.
The only notification that I received,
Right.
and it came from the senior center, not from City Hall.
No, I know, we didn't have any awareness of it until I think the night before, or the day before that we found out about it, so. And I don't know if there's any other information. I just wanna make sure that I adequately respond to this, the data request.
No information. I just received a phone call and asked if I would announce the candidates.
And there was an article in the record prior to announcing it. I mean, they announced it the week before in the record.
Yeah, and then I'm sure it must have come out of the senior center.
Yeah, I think just the word of caution is if you have too many council members attending these meetings, the best thing to do is for some of you to excuse yourself out of the meeting just to make sure that you're not getting close to a quorum in any of those types of meetings. Whether or not there's government data that's being passed on or discussed at the meeting, or something that you will be talking about at the council meeting, I guess it remains to be seen. I don't know what was said at the meeting. I'm assuming it was a government a forum that talked about issues that are before you. So, I just be very careful when you're talking about meetings like that you don't get a quorum or necessarily close to it. You get 4 people there, I think I'd be getting a little concerned. If you get 5, you've got a quorum of the council, wasn't notified or wasn't noticed. Whether or not it's a violation, I can't make that determination. I don't make a determination on a violation if there is one or not, so. If you wanna.
Well, I think there were, if I remember right, there were 4 of us there, but the 4 were never together in one group. Even if there was 4, we could still be there. I mean, it was an open forum for anybody. The reason I found out about it is the guy his wife that sponsors it, they exercise down in St. Francis like I do, and they're the ones that told me about it. That's how I found out about it.
Mr. President, could I make a comment? I think that everybody at this table was there with the exception of Mr. Crowder, Dan, and Mr. Hanfler, and I think even Leanne was there, and if not, there was certainly 5 present. I was
Leanne
there.
wasn't there, Frank wasn't there.
Frank was there, he's a candidate.
But, yeah,
Lauren was there,
3, and then.
Urban was there, you were there, and so was Kathy, 5 during the entire time.
So what did we talk about?
Well, I'm just saying there was a quorum there.
Each one was given 3 minutes.
To
Because
talk.
it was stated earlier by Mr. Boyle that only 2 were there, which was inaccurate. So I was stating the truth. I was there the entire time, before
So was I.
and well after. So there were 5
Well, I
members
actually
there the whole
called the
time.
iPad about it, and they were very concerned about it.
Well, remember what that
And
attorney
I
told
have
us?
every right to call the iPad.
Well, I don't care about the
So
iPad.
I called the iPad, and they were very concerned about it, and I actually got in trouble from a client of mine and wondered why I wasn't there. So I actually did a bunch of calling, and this person is going to pursue it because she just thinks it was handled very unprofessionally. So you were in the same room.
Oh, yeah, that don't make.
Oh, yes, it does.
You can't prove what we're talking about.
Really?
Yep, you can't prove, if the 5 of us were sitting
You
there,
obviously don't know what you're talking
you
about.
didn't listen to that attorney that was here that night.
I sure
Brian,
did.
you're out of.
You are nuts.
You are nuts.
Boy, I might remind everyone in this room, everything is recorded
We're
by
going
this
on.
individual, so.
We know that.
We know that. Okay, let's go on.
Right here too, we recorded, just like you.
Not at that meeting.
Oh, you recorded that?
I did.
We didn't run it. So.
I added a memo on the youth task force members on the data request that I received back in August. And I haven't seen anything so far coming back. I've gotten a couple of responses, and so text messages and information on iPhones you know, I think if there are those of you that think there's a whole pile of information that's gonna come up from that, I don't think it's gonna happen. Text messages, when they're deleted, they're gone. They're not available. And the reason I say that is because in the Amy Sensor trial, Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman tried to get text messages from her phone and they couldn't get them. They were gone. So if there were messages and they're deleted, they're gone. But what I'm looking for is data. The other part of it is, and I included a memo from Jeanette Barr with regards to data requests, and she's an attorney with the League of Minnesota Cities, talking about personnel data as relates to cell phones. And according to, from everything I know, is that council members are considered employees of the city. And if you're considered an employee, the information on your phones is personnel data, and it's private data under the Act. So I've gotten a bunch of data requests that deal with all the phone, texting, emails, written documentation. Now, the written documentation certainly I will provide, but text messages and things that are on your cell phones, I mean, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything coming off of any of that, because if you're considered employees of the city under Minnesota Statute 13.43, that's personnel data. The statute only identifies certain specific things that are available under the Act, and if it's not included as something that is public, all other data is considered private. That's under subdivision 4 of that. So your personal cell phone data and cell phone records and billing and stuff like that, I don't believe at this point it's going to be public data. So just
For
as
no
a
reason it
FYI.
should be.
Now, we had a couple of other data requests. We've included those that we've received since your last meeting, and we'll continue to do that as we receive those.
So you're saying any email talking about meetings?
Emails, if it's on your personal computer, may not be. It may be private data under the Act. I'm doing some more research on that, and you know, I know it's taking a while, and I try to get these data requests processed as soon as I can, because I don't want to look like I'm dragging my feet, but the whole area of the electronic communications is so new that there isn't a lot of law and there isn't a lot of opinions from iPad on it. I'm trying to gather that information. That's why I contacted Jeanette Barr. Scott Kelly, who was here, is no longer with the League of Minnesota Cities. I think Jeanette might have been his supervisor.
What was his name again? The man that-
Scott Kelly.
So you were at that meeting. Do you remember what he said about even smartphones? Leave them home.
Yeah.
And at least I got out of the meeting that emails, anything to do with the city can be considered public information.
Yeah, and I heard that from him as well, and my concern about that is that each issue, each item needs to be taken based on the facts that you're trying to get out. And that's why I said at the beginning of this, now, he may have said as a blanket statement that information might be public, but if you're considered employees, and you've got the other part of the statute that you need to look at, and that's the personnel data. And that's where it gets trickier to make a kind of the blanket statement that he made, that, you know, two people texting each other at the meeting is public data, may or may not have been.
Really?
So
he might have given us misinformation.
you know, I'm not gonna say that. It may be correct information based on what's going on in his head, on what he thought was who those people were out there. But if they're employees of the city, as council members may be, or considered in this town, it would be under the personnel section of 1343. Now, if they're not employees, you know, that's a different story. If it's task force members, or if it's, you know, different people on these items, although task force members, I think, are under 1343 as well, because they're appointed to do work for the city. So, you know, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna meet with the city attorney about this
Mhm.
specific item, and I wanna get it right. I'm gonna take the conservative approach. I'm not gonna give out information that I shouldn't be giving out. So I wanna get it right. I'm gonna meet with her. Actually, I'm gonna be gone for about the next week, so I'll be back in the office. I'll be here tomorrow, but then I'll be back the next Wednesday, meeting with her that morning. So I wanna try to get this information out, and I'll hopefully be back to you as soon as I can with exactly the direction that we need to go on this. So that's all I have. Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else got anything?
So basically, what do you guys want is all of our computers and phones to go through and dig and whatever you wanna do with?
We'll get
Is that what
mine.
they're after?
I don't have one.
It's costing the city a lot of money just to go through all this stuff. I mean,
Big
I
joke
hope
is what it is.
the public realizes how much money is being spent just to get stuff that's,
You wouldn't find anything online anyway.
I don't have one.
You know what?
By the way, how many are attending this league meeting?
I am.
1, 2, 3.
We're leaving
And I
early to come
noticed
back for the fire.
That there were $160 sent for registration, that would have been 4.
Dan is going, I'm going, I don't have the list in front of me.
Yeah,
Brian is going, he's the other one.
okay, so you're going?
Why do you wanna know?
Top secret.
We don't wanna have a quorum there.
Asking for.
We don't want a
Right,
quorum.
that's right.
Well,
We'd have a quorum,
you
so
can't
you
do
can't.
anything.
Do we ask that before?
Why don't you ask him? You're a big boy, ask him.
So, but.
Brian, you don't have
What
to
did
be
you say?
rude. You don't have to be
You are
rude.
Everyone in here is rude.
Yeah, including you.
Yourself.
Just show
You
Louis
got
back there.
everything, you got everything done? Anything else?
I,
Then we'll-
I,
You got one thing,
I
Lori?
have two things,
Okay.
and Jerry might have,